Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 316 of our Be a Better You annual challenge. We are talking about the ideas process, step 5, which is next as part of that, and No Nonsense November, day 12. And we're talking about no. Just say no today as part of that. So we're having 2 action items every day this week, just for 7 days. And they're not hard. They're not super challenging. We've done the ideas process. If you've been with me all year, we've done it. This is our 10th time. So we're doing great. And we're not going to pressure ourselves or freak out, but I just want us to go over this tool that we came up with in January once a month and apply it to something in our life. And you can apply it to a really simple little challenge just to practice the steps of the process so that you can take them, learn them, make them your own, and then install them in your subconscious and add another tool to your toolbox to make your life easier going forward. I'd say starting this week, right now, and going forward. So step 5 of our ideas process is N for next. And what we do in this step of the process is we reflect and we think about what is the next right thing we need to do? What is the next action we're going to take? And maybe the next action is just to wait a couple of days to see if the action we took yesterday is going to yield the results we want, or if we need to tweak it and change it a little bit to get the results we want faster. Depends on what action item you get. I'm working on cleaning up my personal workspaces between now and the end of the year. So I'm mapping out a strategy and planning, how do I really ideally want it to be? Because I can make a few changes and improve it. And that's what I've done over the years and decades. I mean, this to me is an improvement over some of my past backgrounds. And I will always have a different background than other people do, other coaches, other gurus, other business people, other professionals, other personal development folks, whatever, because it's who I am. And this project, I will tell you the story about that. If anybody wants to know, just ask. But it's a project I did when I was first losing my vision. Not first, actually, when I was losing the vision in my right eye. My right eye had always been my good eye. I lost the vision in my left eye in my late 20s. It was my late 20s. Actually, it was my early 20s. Then I got surgery. I got a little vision back. But yeah. I could go on this for like an hour or so. So next, what do we want to do next? So think about that today. Share in the comments below one thing that you can and will do next when you're ready to take action again. And I'd say be ready now, right? Make sure that we're action oriented and moving forward and doing the things that we can do to create the change that we want to see in our life. And our topic for today is one that's actually near and dear to my heart because I used to suck at this. And I probably still am not awesome at it, but it's the ability to say no to the things that aren't for us right now and make no a complete sentence without apologizing for saying no. I am one of those people that you could come to in my 30s and 40s and not so much in my 50s because I had sudden cardiac arrest at that point. But you could come to me and you could ask me pretty much anything and I would find a way to make it happen and help you do it. And that basically just totally burnt me out. And there was a lot of other stuff going on too at the time. But I was one of those busy people, they say if you need something done, ask the busiest person you know because they'll find a way to get it done. And that's who I was. That was my identity back then. And it served me well to raise my kids and things. But after that, it didn't serve me very well. So remember, boundaries are built with no. Every yes that we say, everything we say yes to, we're committing our time, our energy, our resources to, because we only have so much time. Time is such a precious resource, and so much of it we squander. I can tell you so many stories about, I sat one day when I was working in my business instead of on my business because somebody had gotten sick, and filling in a routine task where it meant my brain could be going 100 miles an hour while my hands were going the speed of the process. And I added up all the time, I estimated all the time that I had spent in the last year feeling frustrated and expecting things to be different than they were. And it was such an eye-opening experience because all of that time and energy spent on a negative emotion that didn't get me what I wanted could have been used to set boundaries, to make the world a better place, to set guidelines, to create systems and automations that would have made the things that frustrated me easier. You know, this is before AI and you know, the internet and things, but it was still a very eye-opening experience. So we need to learn to guard our energy and guard our time and protect it and say yes to things that match our personal goals and priorities, but no to the things that people just ask us for and we want to be nice because we want to be liked and loved, and we say yes to it and overextend ourselves. Saying no to what's good makes room for the great opportunities that come by. Have you ever said yes to something and committed, and then all of a sudden something way better came along? I've done that before in jobs. I took a job that sounded good and then realized that the next thing that came along would have been awesome for me, but I had already said yes and committed to the one organization, so that's where I went. That's where I committed myself for the next, I think, 5 years, because I'd already said yes to that and committed to it. So instead of waiting a little longer and listening to my intuition, I went with the first thing that came along. And how often do we do that? Pretty often. At least I know I do. Sneak another drink of my tea. Our priorities are measured by where our time is actually spent. This is kind of an eye-opening exercise as well. If you pay attention to, and I do this exercise every once in a while, especially when I notice I'm drifting off of my usual path and trail of what I want to be doing, and I'm doing things to fill my time and energy. So if I catch myself, and I haven't done it for quite a while now, but I've caught myself not doing it, which is exciting too. Sometimes I will get into a phase where I'm watching things on television. I call it the idiot box, because it thinks for me, or it makes it so that I don't have to think. And every once in a while, I need that recharge of my batteries. I like to do it when I'm exercising, when I'm riding my exercise bike. I think that's a perfectly acceptable way to watch some no-mind stuff, unless there's something I'm working on and then I don't want to watch no-mind stuff. But things like that, if we pay attention to how much time are we doom scrolling, it's called on school. Never heard that term before. How much time are we spending scrolling mindlessly on the internet, getting our emotions played by every ridiculous post, a lot of them generated by bots and AI nowadays. You don't even know what's real and what's fake. That's to me what keeps me off of it now, because I'm like, I could be getting all upset by some fake bot or some fake story on a social media platform that is ridiculous, and I'm getting all worked up about it. Not going to do it. I'm going to choose not to participate. That's something I'm finding easier to say no to. So what am I going to do today? Stop saying yes to things that don't match our time, energy, resources, ability, and they're not moving us in the direction we want our life to go. So how are we going to do that? We're going to identify today one thing, one commitment that we can say no to, that we may have said, okay, I'm going to do this. Maybe I'm going to help with this event. And we realize you just don't have the bandwidth with work and kids and all the things that you're trying to do. You don't have the bandwidth to do it. So how can you gracefully say no to that without, and that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest reason people say yes when they really want to say no. How can we protect our priorities by saying no? And remember, no is a complete sentence. Unless it's somebody you care very much about, you can just say no. I'm learning that on social media. People ask me for things all the time, and if it's appropriate, matches my priorities, opportunities and things, I will say yes. But if they're trying to pitch me something that is not in alignment with anything I'm at all interested in, it's no. And then they'll come back and try to nudge at you like you owe them an explanation. And I'm like, it's just a no, not my priority. No, thank you. And then move on. And hopefully they will too, because they'll realize that the strategy of trying to slam their thing down people's throats never works, right? All right, so what are we doing today? One commitment you might normally say yes to, say no to, and feel good about it, and then use that time on your own priorities. That's it. If I can help you in any way, hit me up and ask. Otherwise, have an awesome day, and I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow.